This angle was stressing me out a little tiny bit. I have spent quite a while trying to figure this out. That's Buddy crying because I've shut the door. Right, okay. I've been trying to film this. I've been trying to set the camera up. Buddy's been crying because I shut the door. Things are falling over. I'm not really happy about this setup, but let's just get going because I could be here all day trying to figure this out. I'm feeling very slick for me today. I feel like I'm not normally as like slicked back as this. It's kind of hard to do like a bit of a slick style with curly hair, but somehow it's happening and I'm not mad at it because it's a little bit different for me. But anyway, let's get cracking because I wanted to film something a little bit more fast paced, and I've noticed like so many people kind of reverting back to like old videos recently where it's like more like the old school 10 years ago YouTube, which is the YouTube that I started watching and the YouTube that I started getting involved in and the YouTube that I think everybody really secretly loves because it was like back in the day. So I'm gonna do a 50 facts video. Buddy, come on, please. Come on honey, you can't bite it. Do you want to be on the windowsill or do you want to be with me? Or do you want, I know, why don't you go on the bed? Good girl. I'm going to do the 50 facts video because I thought this was a really good way of like going through, answering some questions, but it was like a bit quicker rather than going off on like a massive tangent like I always do when I start trying to do like talking videos. And it gives you the opportunity to get to know me a little bit better. And then if you also make comments or comment over on my Instagram or message me, because I love it when you guys message me, I can get to know you guys better too. So 50 facts. My name is Emma. There you go. I am from Surrey, that's where I was born, and I lived in Surrey until I went to uni when I was 20, where I moved to Bristol, and then I stayed in Bristol for a little bit after uni and then moved back to Surrey for a couple of years and then moved back to Bristol. So back and forth, but I'm originally from Surrey. I currently live in Bristol, so I moved here, God, I think 3 years ago now. Just before COVID, and I moved in with Toby. I want to say 5'5", but that sounds quite tall, so maybe 5'4". I did get measured not that long ago. My PT like measures me every couple of months when we kind of like do my stats, and I want to say like 5'5". I think that's right. My hobbies are kind of like tied into like my job as well, so I just like love like filming content, making content, like photography, fashion, beauty, lifestyle, anything that kind of revolves around like stuff like that I'm into. I also really like learning, so I'm always kind of like doing like a little course or listening to like an audiobook or something. Oh my god, she's so cute. Do you want me to ask you some questions? Seriously, she's so adorable. Can you even see her? My god. Okay, this isn't the Buddy show. It should be the Buddy show. Yeah, so my hobbies are basically everything that I kind of encompass on my blog, which is like fashion, beauty, lifestyle, anything to do with any of that I'm like obsessed with. I love like reading like Vogue magazine, immersing myself in those sorts of subjects. So I love like putting outfits together and just all of the things that you kind of do like via my blog or on Instagram, but they're the things that I really truly love, which is why I like doing those things for work, because they are my hobbies and I love them. I also really like photography, and I am currently studying towards a fashion styling diploma. And that's kind of my hobbies really, aside from all the typical ones. I feel like everyone's like seeing my friends, seeing my family, music, going to gigs. Everyone who loves those things, they're my favourite things too. At the moment I'm also really enjoying like exploring Bristol a bit more, because since I moved back here we were in lockdown for quite a lot of time, and I live in a different area to where I lived when I was at uni and like beforehand. So it's been really nice to kind of like go out and about and kind of like relearn a city that I have lived in for like 7 years, but like exploring different parts of it and doing different things. That's kind of like my current hobbies, I would say. This is not the first YouTube channel that I've had. I had various channels like back in the day, so like literally the day YouTube started I had a channel, and it was just the worst thing. It was like, you know, well, I say, you know, I guess like people in their late 20s probably know, like when YouTube first came out, you would just take like videos on your phone of like gigs and like your mates at school and just like terrible videos that no one's ever going to want to watch, but you just put it online anyway. I don't think anyone really knew what YouTube was going to turn into, so it was just like almost just free posting crap. So I did have a channel where I posted loads of stuff. I also have another channel, which I think I've talked about before, called Useful Tools, which I had before this channel. So no, this isn't my only channel, and it's not my first channel, but it is my channel that I'm currently trying to work on at the moment. My username, so on here I'm a thing for vlog, so my blog is a thing for. It actually, I don't know if many people know this, but it initially was a thing for travel. So when I first started doing my blog just on my own, I was traveling quite a lot and like going on loads of holidays and like city breaks, and I was kind of like dedicating a lot of like time on Pinterest and everywhere to like travel content. So it was actually started off as a thing for travel, and I had that domain for like a year or so, but I really wanted to branch out into other things. I didn't want it to be limited, and sort of travel element of my life kind of like ebbs and flows, so I wanted to have something that was a bit more like tangible in different subjects. So fashion, beauty and lifestyle were all of the things. No, she wants my microphone. My microphone's got like a fluffy head on, so she wants to bite the mic. So fashion, beauty, lifestyle, food, drink and travel were kind of all the subjects that I wanted to cover. So I didn't want to have like a thing for travel, a thing for fashion, and I just thought, let's have a thing for, and then each of those elements can come like within that umbrella. So if I was posting fashion content, it would be a thing for fashion. If it was travel, a thing for travel. And that's kind of where it came from. I feel like everyone like 10 years ago when I made this all had different names and had like a blog name or a YouTube name or an Instagram name, and now everyone's kind of reverted back to their actual names. So it feels a little outdated to me now, having like a kind of made up name as my username, but I feel like there's some legacy there, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I'm not ready to change it. So that's a thing for. And then when I had set up my vlog channel, it just seemed natural to have a thing for vlogs, because I wanted there to be some consistency and it just seemed to fit. So that's why it's called a thing for vlogs. For video editing, I use Premiere Pro. The camera that I record on is a Canon G7X Mark III. I got this camera a couple of years ago now and I absolutely love it. I did have a different camera, I think it was a Panasonic Lumix before, but it had a fixed lens, and I wanted something that would be able to pick up the zoom and zoom in and out as I was on videos, vlogging, whatever. I really love this camera. I love it because it's small, so I can pop it in my pocket. I love it because it's quite durable. I literally like chuck it in my bag, chuck it in my pocket, take it everywhere with me. The only thing I would say about this camera is I've noticed some issues with the zoom, and you'll probably notice on my videos, and definitely on a recent video that I filmed, I noticed it was just coming in and out of zoom all the time. And I have heard a lot of people actually say that the Mark III has issues with the zoom, whereas if you go down to the Mark II, it's actually a bit better, which I honestly wish I'd have known before, because I got the Mark III because I wanted just the better camera and I wanted to have the opportunity to film in 4K, but it overheats so quickly. I haven't actually been able to film a video in 4K because I'll film a couple of clips and my camera overheats, and within like 2 minutes it's shut off, and then you have to wait for it to cool down. And it's just a complete nightmare. I bought like really expensive SD cards to try and combat that, so that the SD cards weren't heating up, so the camera didn't heat up, but honestly it just heats up too fast. I film in 1080 anyway, so I kind of wish I'd gone for the Mark II. So if you are thinking about getting a Canon and you are looking at the G7, I would say G7X Mark II. But I do love the Mark III as well, but they're essentially the same thing. Yes, I've met loads of YouTubers in real life. I feel like less so recently, but more kind of back years ago when I used to go to events and things in London, and there's been a couple of times where I've like seen people at other events that I'm at. I went to uni in Bristol, I went to UE, and I studied psychology. Yes, I have a pet because she's been in the video terrorising me every single time I try and post or film anything. My kitten Buddy, she has just turned 1, so I guess technically I can't call her a kitten anymore, but she's still a tiny baby. She's actually a really small cat as well. One of our cat sitters is a vet, and she said that she thinks it's because she's an indoor cat, like she hasn't needed to kind of like grow bigger, so she's quite short and quite little. She looks quite big in like pictures and on camera sometimes, but in real life, like when people actually meet her, they're like, oh, she's actually really small, but she's super cute. We are obsessed. Would I say I'm a crazy cat lady? Yes. I don't know what my favourite book is. I think this really depends. So in terms of like, I think your favourite book depends on like when you've read it as well, because I've read different books at different times that have really meant something because of the time that I read it in. For example, before I quit my job to go freelance, I was like desperately unhappy, and I listened to Lucky Bitch, Get Rich Lucky Bitch and Chillpreneur from Denise Duffield Thomas, and she is the reason why I am where I am now. I quit my job and moved because of her, and whenever I need a bit of a like pick me up, I listen to her books. I've listened to her books 15 times, and I'll listen to them like a couple of times a year, because even though that it's quite samey, all of the books, and obviously listening to the same thing over and over again is literally the same, I find that it's really good to like refresh your memory of these things. It's now turned into a full-blown storm, guys. I'm really sorry about this. It's really pretty from my angle though. Yeah, so I love Denise Duffield Thomas, any of her books. I've just listened to Chill and Prosper, which is her latest book. I downloaded it the day it came out because I love her. But then there's loads of other books that really meant things at certain times. During lockdown, I listened to Anne Frank's diary, and that was hugely profound for me, because I feel like if I had read that book outside of lockdown, I don't think I would have felt so intensely connected to the story as I did, given that we were also in a lockdown. And I know it's a completely different scenario, and like the scales are not balanced in any way, but there's like parts of the book where she was saying like she just longed to be outside or just longed to walk down the street with her friends, and I was like, I don't think I would have appreciated how that felt until we were like isolated from everyone as well. That's a great book, and it's read by Helena Bonham Carter, which is like amazing. Night owl, desperately trying to be a morning lark, definitely a night owl since I was a baby. I mean, I am obsessed with all types of food, so I can't pick, sweet and savoury. I like to binge on sweet, and then when I can't eat any more sweet, I'll binge on savoury. I feel like that they kind of like counterbalance, so if you've eaten too much of one, you can just start on the other and you feel alright. Anyone else? I don't wear makeup every day, no. I actually don't wear makeup a lot these days. Before COVID, I wore makeup pretty much every day, but that was because I had a job and I was at work, and even though you don't need to wear makeup every day, I feel better about myself in terms of like energy wise when I have makeup on. So typically now when I wear makeup, and especially if I've got like the gym and stuff, I do wear makeup on those days, but not because I'm like insecure about my skin or myself. It's because I don't feel awake until I've like done that part of my routine. I think a lot of people relate to that. I see a lot of people, some people say that they just need to do their skincare routine and that's enough. But for me, if I've got like a face of makeup on, I feel bright-eyed, I feel awake, I'm ready for the day. And if I am like high energy but don't have makeup on, I just feel a bit sluggish all day. That being said, I probably spend like 3 or 4 days a week without makeup on, and the others, when I have something to do or I really need to kind of like get going, I will wear makeup. But it just depends on what I'm doing. If I'm like seeing someone every day or doing something and I need to be like really productive, I might wear makeup every day that week. And then if I'm just chilling and I don't need to be like super stressed, then I might wear no makeup for a week. It varies. But that being said, I do just want to say it is really good to get used to going out without makeup on, because I think you can get a little bit addicted to feeling like you need to look made up all the time. And I think you'll be surprised at how confident you feel when you've done it a few times. And so many times like I won't wear makeup and people won't even notice. I think it's really good to kind of like normalize both, and then you never feel like you need one or the other, which is a great position to be in. I didn't take a gap year, and I didn't take a gap year in like a traditional sense either. So like, I guess like gap year means to do like go off traveling and do all this stuff. I hated school, I hated college. I had a really bit of a bad time at college because I became quite ill. So I was just over it. I've always been a bit rebellious when it comes to education and school, and I just wanted to get out. I wasn't interested in college, I wasn't interested in uni, and my parents kind of like forced me to go to college, which I'm grateful that they did, and I loved like experiencing college. It was just an unfortunate time for me to become quite unwell. But I went and got a job and I worked full time for 2 years and I absolutely loved it. But having that freedom and being able to make my own decisions and have my own money kind of like gave me a bit of a better perspective on what I wanted to do. And then I did go to uni. So I had a double gap year, if you like. I went to uni when I was 20 instead of 18. But I needed that. You know, my family couldn't afford to put me and my brother through uni, so I saved up in those 2 years to be able to afford to go. Which put me in a great position because I was able to pay like upfront for my accommodation and give myself a bit of money to have like as well as my student loan. And I think that 2 years is really what I needed to kind of like get a lot of stuff out of my system to take uni somewhat seriously, because honestly I think if I'd have gone when I was 18, I mean, me and my housemates were a bit of like party animals anyway, and I think that we definitely partied a lot more than we'd studied. But I think if I'd have gone when I was 18, it would have been a shambles. So I'm really glad I had those 2 years out. Sometimes that's exactly what you need. And if you're not sure what you want, or you're not sure if you want to go to uni, I would say just take some time, take a year, take 2 years. It really doesn't matter. Like when I went to uni, I didn't feel older than anyone, and I was like, most of the people at uni are all different ages anyway. So there was like loads of people my age and older, so it was like absolutely fine. But the financial benefits and the kind of like growing up, I guess, that I did in that time was quite essential for me, so I highly recommend it. So my workout schedule fluctuates. It used to be every day of the week. Then when COVID hit, I was working out like every day of the week for like 4 hours because there was nothing else to do and I was really trying to sort out my mental health. And then by the end of COVID, I was doing absolutely nothing except for eating a lot of food and laying on the sofa. So my workout and my body has changed a lot in the last couple of years. I was like super fit, really muscly. Like I was really happy with my body before COVID, and I came out the other end really quite unhappy. Not just because of how it looked, but just how I felt. I didn't feel the same in any way. So now I see my personal trainer twice a week, on a Tuesday and on a Thursday. And I am aiming to get some more workouts in during the week. It's just that I haven't really found a good routine so far. But I'm going to try Pilates and like bar workouts because I've never tried those workouts before and I heard very good things about them. And I'm going to try and incorporate a little bit more of yeah, I'm hoping to incorporate a little bit more into my workout routine and kind of get back to where I was. I'm not concerned about having like an obsessive workout routine, working out every day, Monday to Sunday. I don't need to be that far into it right now, but I want to have 2 days a week with my personal trainer and hopefully at least 2 days a week of just something a little else, because it really affects how I feel mentally and physically when I work out more. If you don't work out, please do something. It helps you in ways that you just don't even know. And I think a lot of people have so much emphasis on having to be extreme. Like, you know, when you work out, you need to be lifting like heavy weights like 5 times a week or going for like 10k runs. Like you can literally just walk 5 minutes around your block or do a 5-minute yoga workout. There's a 6-minute ab workout that I do that destroys me. Like, you can always fit something in, even if it's just doing 10 squats. It's better than nothing. And that little accomplishment throughout the day is like everything sometimes. No, never broken a bone. My favourite cuisine, I would say, is Japanese. Hang on, I think I've got 6, 12, 13, 14... I think I've got about 15 piercings, I think. I didn't. I passed my driving test on the second time And it made no sense to me because I genuinely think my first test was better than my second test. I think I really fucked up in my second test, so I don't really know why I passed. I love a pina colada. Where we like to go out for dinner a lot has a specific cocktail called a rum swizzle, which I love. But I had an amazing Mai Tai the other night. So right now I'm gonna say Mai Tai. Favorite designer brand? I mean, I would say this is like mid-range brand, but my favorite kind of like mid-range brand for like clothing is Ganni. I love Ganni clothing. I love Ganni, but sometimes it's a little not my style in terms of like, I don't think it kind of like looks great on me, but there's definitely elements of Ganni that I incorporate into my style and I absolutely love it. Favourite high street brand? My favourite high street brand has always been Topshop. I think just the age I am and the fact it was like our high street store when we were like kids and teenagers. It's kind of been like a consistent brand throughout my life, and I still shop Topshop now on ASOS obviously. My heart did break a little tiny bit when Topshop obviously like closed and like all of the stores closed. I love Topshop. Battery ran out. Everything that could go wrong is going wrong. Hopefully I'm in the same place. Well, let's keep going. Favourite TV show? I have loads of favourite TV shows. My all-time favourite TV shows that I like binge over and over and over and would like recommend and repeat are Friends, obviously, Parks and Recreation. Oh fuck, I thought I had like more on the tip of my tongue. I didn't wear braces. I am like distraught by the fact I didn't wear braces. I always wanted them when I was a teenager and I wish I had had them now as an adult. Not gonna lie, touch wood, touch wood, touch wood. Is this wood? Wood. I have never had anything done in my mouth. I haven't had any issues with my teeth ever at all. And my teeth are very, very straight. I would just prefer if there's like one tooth and I would just like it to be a little bit more like rounded because it sticks out a little bit. And what's funny is my brother did have braces. He had full train track braces and loads of teeth out and his teeth were perfect and his exact same tooth has moved to be exactly the same as mine. So it's obviously like a genetic thing that we both have, but I would love to have braces. Yes, I have been a bridesmaid. I've been a bridesmaid quite a few times for family and friends. My favourite season is autumn because I love the like mild temperature, the leaves, the style, the fashion, like everything that comes with it, like pumpkin spice lattes, lighting a candle, like it's such a cozy, nice time, but you haven't quite got to that like really harsh winter weather yet. However, Christmas is in winter and Christmas is just the ultimate of everything. Yes, I love Christmas. I feel like I'm like renowned with like my friends and family for how unbelievably obsessed with Christmas I am. I literally wish it was Christmas every day. I love Christmas. I talk about it all year round. I would say that I don't go a week without talking about Christmas or listening to Christmas music or planning Christmas content or something to do with Christmas. I love it. But so does my family, and I think I get this from my mum and dad, and especially the first year that both my brother and I went to uni, they went like really overboard with like the Christmas decorations, and like we all went away as like a family and stayed in Devon, and I feel like I think I get it from my parents, and then it's just like escalated to another level. And also when I met Toby, he really wasn't into Christmas, so I feel like it almost became like a bit of a mission, and I went into like hyper Christmas mode to try and like convert him, and it's definitely worked. He might not admit it, but it's definitely worked. The view from my bedroom right now is a thunderstorm. Luckily we're in a city, so I kind of back onto their flats, but they're like converted from houses, so it's like really pretty old Victorian house buildings. But we have a nice big tree, which gives the illusion that we're not in the city. So when I'm laying in bed, or as I'm sitting here, I look out and I can see greenery, which is amazing because the alternative could just be like flats and horrible city crap. But I get to see a beautiful big tree, so I'm quite lucky. I don't know. I don't think I really have a favourite flower, if I'm honest. Anytime anyone buys me flowers, I love all of them, and I'm being judged right now. Buddy's got, apparently she's like looking down at me, judging me. Yeah, I don't think I really have like a favourite flower. I love all flowers. I love sunflowers because they remind me of my grandmother. But I am a big fan of all flowers. I do not discriminate. My actual hair colour is literally this colour. It is like a dark brown with kind of like, it does kind of like shine lighter in the light, so you will definitely see like a kind of like a bit of a lighter colour, and the ends do go quite light in the sun, so it doesn't like hold its colour that well. But yeah, my natural hair colour is literally the colour of my brows, my lashes and my hair. Oh god, yeah, I have a really bad phobia of spiders, which I have definitely inherited from my mum, who I think inherited it from her dad. Really like irrational fear of spiders that is just ridiculous, that I'm constantly trying to work on. I really want to like get better at it. Now I've got Buddy, it's not so bad because they don't really come in the house as much anymore. I think they can like hear her stomping around, so it's been so much better. I also have a massive fear of flying and that is something that I've had to work really hard on pretty much my whole life. I remember as a kid being like really terrified of flying. I must have like watched or seen something when I was too young, and that's really like scared me, because I have a really bad fear of flying. When I was like in my early 20s and like late teens, I would like try and get off the plane, scream, shout, hyperventilate, like it was a problem. It wasn't just like a kind of like in my seat, oh god, I'm really nervous, like everybody knew about it. And I was scared to fly without my family, because I don't think anyone who, like my friends, kind of like really understood quite how bad I was. So I was always really scared about someone not being able to like restrain me properly or like talk me down. And then I started taking Valium, and then that would like ruin like the first 2 or 3 days of my holiday, because I would take so much to stay calm that then I'd be exhausted and just be like asleep the whole time. So it's really been a combination of just like really trying to stay positive, control my breathing, and really focus on all of the good bits. Like I really try now, I always treat myself to a little present at the airport. It used to be just like a MAC lipstick, just something to try and make the experience better. So I would be like, right, we're gonna like get a little treat, we're gonna get food, we're gonna like really trying to make the experience great, and like, oh, it's so fun, they're gonna come run with the trolley soon, and like trying to kind of like work out a way to focus on the positives. Something else that has really helped is that my family, and when I was younger, always flew really early in the morning, and then really late at night to kind of make the most of our holiday. So we'd fly at like maybe like 6 a.m. on the way out there, and then we'd fly really late back, which I think just threw my body off anyway. I would always feel really sick on the way to the airport, and I think it was a combination of nerves, but also having breakfast at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. So as an adult, I am really careful to book my flights at normal times. So I, as much as it's annoying kind of losing a day of your holiday, whenever I travel at like a normal time. So my kind of like getting up and my morning routine is always the same, and same with my evening routine. So I'm never kind of like anxious because I'm overtired or my routine's off, if you know what I mean. That like kind of like tipping the scale in terms of your routine is enough to kind of like make me a bit anxious anyway. And flying during the daytime is so much better for me, because I would get like such panic if I looked out the window and I couldn't see the ground. So now I always fly at like an appropriate time of day, and so that I can like look out the window and actually see that we're not about to crash. But yeah, I've had some pretty ropey times on flights with friends and family. A lot of shouting, crying, and yeah, I'm working on it all the time. Are you good at replying to messages? I'm one extreme or the other with messages, honestly. Like if you get me when my phone's in my hand, I will back and forth with you for hours. I can have like full conversations. I am so great at messaging. Or if I like pick my phone up, read the message, and I don't have time to reply, it could be a month. There is no consistency here. So both Toby and I used to be smokers actually, and when COVID hit, I was like, we need to really like crack this habit. I've been on and off my whole life, to be honest. I have been like a year or so without smoking, and I did also start vaping because I used to vape CBD for pain relief. But before COVID, or as COVID hit, I was like, we need to stop this now. And now if we do smoke, it's just socially, or like special occasions and things like that, as I think most people do, to be honest. But I find it really awkward to talk about. I wasn't even sure about answering this question, if I'm honest, but I wanted to be honest, because even though I was a smoker and I still will occasionally smoke, I think there's so much stigma attached to it, and I have a stigma attached to it too, where I think it's just so disgusting. I think you have to be a specific type of person to be a smoker, and I think really negatively about that, which is something that I need to unlearn, because that's a really bad way of thinking. But I think it's because I always really like talked myself down for being a smoker, and I always like tried to hide it from people, and like I've always been quite like ashamed of it. And so I think I've given myself this label that it's like disgusting and so bad, and like I can't ever admit this to someone, but I'm admitting it to you right now. Favorite movie? Oh, I mean, all my favorite movies are like Christmas movies. Elf is like all-time favorite, feel good, amazing movie. Miracle on 34th Street, amazing. But then there's just like cute chick flicks like Serendipity that I love. A movie that me and my friend used to watch all the time as teenagers was Troy. That's one of my favourite movies. One of my favourite movies when I was like a kid was Legally Blonde. I can speak that whole movie and know every single word. And now as I've gotten older and kind of like good movies that I like to watch now, I mean, I feel like I still have my favourite movies are my favourite movies because they're like nostalgic to me. So like things like Harry Potter and Twilight and all of those things. Like I don't really have a favourite movie because I'm like, that movie was amazing. My favourite movies are all because they like have a connection to either my past or Christmas, honestly. Well, you can tell the weather's cooled down because Toby got under a blanket this morning and said winter vibes, and our buddy's gotten into bed, so clearly no one is as hot as I am. Oh god, I'm such a sensitive person. Like if I watch like a sad movie, is this really distracting? If I watch a sad movie, it doesn't just make me sad, I live with it for my whole life. Like Toby laughs at me because there's certain scenes in movies or certain things that happen that I saw when I was like 5 or like 10 or like 15, and he's like, get over it, it's not real. And I literally can't. Things will like sadden me to my core and I can never get over it. But like one of the saddest films I've ever watched was Homeward Bound, and I don't think I've watched this movie since I was 4 or 5. I'm gonna say I was 5, based on where I was living at the time. But I remember, and I haven't watched it since, I remember watching this movie and so unbelievably hysterically crying for hours, to the point where my mum didn't know what to do with me, so she called my grandmother, her mum, and she was telling me funny stories. And I remember her like trying to tell me things to cheer me up, and she was telling me a story about how like she took my mum and like whoever to the cinema, and they watched a sad movie and they didn't have tissues and they all blew their nose on her scarf, and she was trying so hard to cheer me up. And I just remember for like months and years after being like literally so traumatized by this movie, and I cannot watch it. I've never been able to watch it since. There's a part of me that thinks maybe I should watch it and it might help me overcome like this trauma, because it definitely has left trauma. But there's another part of me that's like, it took me so long to go over it, can I really go through that again? I don't know. If anyone's seen that recently, tell me as an adult if it's as sad. Am I blowing this out of proportion? Because I literally remember it being like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I am such a cold person that even though being too hot is horrible, I feel like you can kind of like do something about that quicker. Like you could just jump into a cold shower, or if I drink a Starbucks Frappuccino, I'm freezing in like 3 seconds. So I feel like the remedy for being too hot is quicker. Whereas when you're too cold, it can take so long to warm up and you literally stiffen, and I hate that like stiff, like I get like aches and pains from being too cold, where you've like stiffened and tensed up like all your muscles in your back and everything. So I hate being too cold. That's definitely the worst. I think it was 2014. I was doing a blog with my friend Donna. I've talked about this before and I've talked about it in my blog, but we essentially had a blog called Between Us Girls, and it was doing really well, and we were involved in lots of fun things, and it was when blogs and YouTube and everything was really kicking off. But we were connected to a company with that blog, and things got really complicated, and we ended up like no longer working with that company, and they took everything away from us, which is very annoying, but it is what it is. So I started up my own blog, a thing for, but before that I had also had a thing for travel alongside Between Us Girls. So technically I started it in like 2014, 2013, but then it was like branded as a thing for in probably 2015. When I was younger, what are you doing? Do you want to come out or do you want to stay in? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? When I was younger, I desperately wanted to do something in fashion or beauty, and I really wanted to work for a magazine. And I remember like vividly when I was like 10 being like, I'm gonna work for a magazine, and I used to like write my own magazines and like print them out. And I always remember this one article that I wrote, and it was called like What's with White, and I was like, yeah, alliteration. Like I still love a bit of alliteration now, I'm not gonna lie. And I remember thinking like, yes, I'm gonna own a magazine, I'm gonna write a magazine. And I always loved like makeup and fashion, and I always wanted to do something like that, aside from being like in the Spice Girls or like S Club 7 or something. Of course I like wanted to be like in a girl band. Aside from the girl band thing though, I feel like everything that I wanted to do when I was younger has kind of come true. Like I don't work for a magazine, but I write my own blog, and I like dabble in like fashion and beauty and style, and that is like what I just loved as a kid. There was a time where I kind of wanted to be a vet, but just because I wanted to be around kittens. Definitely don't want to be a vet, and I have a kitten and she fulfills that side of me. So I would say I got the best of everything that I wanted when I was a kid, and it actually really aligns with my personality, and how my personality quite clearly has not changed. So I worked like one summer at Bupa where my mum worked, because quick funny story is, do you remember how you used to top up your phone, or you would have to pay for absolutely everything? So every text, every call, everything would like cost like 50p or something ridiculous. And I had a boyfriend at the time when we were like 14, and we would like call each other and stay on the phone like all night and like message and God knows what. And my phone bill was something like £600. So I had to work a summer to pay off my phone bill, essentially. So my first job was working it was actually in the accounts team at Bupa. And then my first like actual proper job, so not just like for a summer, was working at Boots. At the weekend, I started working Saturdays, and then I worked on Sundays, and I absolutely loved it. Yes. I'm definitely very British in that sense. I drink about 10 cups of tea a day, sometimes more. I drink decaf now because I no longer have caffeine at all. But I drink 2 cups of tea in the morning, so like Toby will make a coffee and he'll bring me up 2 cups of tea because I'm like thirsty in the morning, and I just down my 2 cups of tea. And yeah, throughout the day I probably end up having like 10 cups. So I am a teaaholic, to say the least. Yes, I believe in ghosts. I can't go into further detail in this video because I will get carried away with experiences, but there are many reasons why I believe in ghosts. I definitely believe in something, and I think ghost represents it quite well. So yes, I do. Favourite thing to wear on a daily basis right now is a massive oversized t-shirt. I've been living in band t-shirts because it's been so hot, I don't want a thing to touch me. And to be honest, I spend most of my time at home, so on a Tuesday and Thursday I'll wear like gym stuff, and then I'll just probably get changed into a big t-shirt while it's hot. And then in the winter I will wear like a bralette and joggers, or like a big hoodie and joggers. So I'm all about comfort and like comfy, casual, chilled clothes on a daily basis. If I'm going out and doing something, I will of course make more effort, but day day in, day out, I'm at home, I'm chilling, I'm comfy. Again, I overthink everything. Why do I make everything such a big question? I feel like the best place that you've been is not necessarily about the place, it's more about the experience. So I went to Morocco with a group of 6 of us, and that was incredible. It was such a fun trip. It was such a great group of people. We did amazing things. So that is one of the best places. But then I went to Seville with one of my best friends, and that, in terms of the actual place, was incredible to me. I've never been anywhere like Seville. But then Paris holds such a huge part of my heart that it's probably gonna have to be Paris. On par with that though is Edinburgh. My soul is from Edinburgh, I just know it. I'm 25% Scottish, and I believe my soul wants to reside in Edinburgh. So I'm gonna say Paris and Edinburgh, and I know they're both cities, but the heart wants what the heart wants. I love a beach holiday, and I haven't had one in so long, and I feel like the next time I have a beach holiday, I'm gonna be beach holidays are the one. But I just love a city break. Me and Toby, we're just city people. We keep trying to move out of the city, and then we just think we won't have Deliveroo, we won't have a pub, we won't have bars, we won't have shopping 5-minute walk from us. We're city people, guys. I love a city break. Favourite colour is either green or blue, and it fluctuates between the two, more consistently with green. So I'm going to say green. I really liked this question because I thought it was really funny, but I have so many favourite people, it's ridiculous. I'm massively obsessed with my friends, and I have a handful of absolute faves. I don't know if it counts as a person, but Buddy is one of my favourites. But I'm gonna have to say Toby, because we live together, we work together, we are a couple, we do everything together, and I'm gonna say if you can do all of that with someone and rarely argue and genuinely have a good time together, you are winning in life. I don't think I've ever experienced getting on with someone so much and doing so much with them as I have with Toby. So it's gonna have to be Toby. I know that's really boring and cringe, but it's the truth. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got to know me a little bit better. Maybe next time I should do something like this with maybe 10 questions, because that'll probably still be an hour long. I will see you. Sabotage. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please please subscribe, and check out my blog and my Instagram, and I will chat with you over on those platforms. Thank you very much, guys. Bye. Do you want to say goodbye?